Context about the crash out. It seems a few members are having grievances with the raid leader's attitude of harshly pushing them to meet expectations, not even taking consideration of the difficulty spikes in the tier. Outside of one member's crash out, another member elaborated well of how if they made a mistake, they would get called brain dead, but if the raid leader did it, then it would get brushed off and ignored. Okay. I mean, the thing is like before we watch this, like it's okay for a person to make a mistake. You know, nobody's perfect. And whenever like someone else makes a mistake, man, before you like constantly shit on them, you know, you have to remember like that you made mistakes too. All right.
I was gonna say that while I do still want to like Prog, I do value like the week one clear like a lot. So like at this rate that we're going, I really don't think that we'll clear by then. So I was gonna.
When did this happen? Yesterday? Have they seen P2? No? Okay, then they're not clearing this week.
Suggest just ending it here, and then I would just go try MPF or something, and then.
That is not what. That is absolutely not what you said yesterday either.
Is that the raid leader
talking?
I know, but
yesterday you said you'd do it on Monday.
Yeah, but
yesterday. Yeah, no, stop. Hold up. We are. No, you are not gonna pull a fucking K on us after we flamed K to hell.
I'm not pulling a K.
He's not only having the same thought, to be honest.
No. You actually would be pulling a K. Let me please finish speaking. Right? What you said yesterday.
What is pulling a Cade? The raid lead is the guy that wants the PF. Okay. Their previous raid leader left.
You asked if people would be okay with you PFing on Monday if tonight, by the end of tonight, it was looking really bad. And really bad was not hitting P2 or being P2 fresh. We have 6 more fucking hours to go. We are not doing that.
But like, I feel like at the rate we're going, it will not even be P2 fresh.
That is not true. That is bullshit. We have 6 more hours to go.
I mean within 6 hours,
if some of you would just be more consistent, we would do it. But I mean,
look, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. I took a vacation day today that I really should have used to take my dad to the hospital tomorrow. So if you're gonna pull this shit, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed at you, and I'm not gonna let it go unnoticed. I'm really fed up with you right now with the way you've been acting the last 2 days.
Damn, Mike peaked.
Inconsistent you've been, and I think you're actually the one that's been the most inconsistent this whole Prog. I'm not being an asshole.
You could go fuck yourself. I should have not come today. I should have taken my dad. Go to PF. Go to PF. Go fuck yourself. Go to PF.
Damn.
Go pull a K.
Oh,
most inconsistent. You have an ego.
Pulling a K would be me leaving right now.
You have unrealistic expectations.
What?
Okay, this is supposed to be the hard team. Are we a world race group? Ask me that, because when you recruited me, that was never advertised. But the way you're acting right now, the way you are acting right now, you have been treating us like we're supposed to be a world race group. Okay?
I disagree with that. Honestly. I feel like my expectations were pretty fair.
Okay, I will say this for what reason. Okay, but you're making it sounding like we're gonna disband if we don't even get a dis one. I mean, why do you have a second?
I didn't.
Stop! Shut the fuck up! I can't even hear him. You're not even spamming the redeems at a good time.
You have a second static.
My second static is casual with my FD.
Okay, but if we don't clear this week, we're only getting 3 days of raid hours while you go raid 3 days with your.
Okay, let me ask the question real fast. The person that's obviously upset, does anyone know before they got together, was there a set schedule? I imagine there was a set schedule, right? The person yelling provided context in the Reddit thread. Okay. Because I was going to say, whenever we have a situation like this, I actually don't yell. I find it much more impactful if you remain calm and you're extremely blunt. if you're like, and when I say extremely blunt, that also means mean. Basically, people are more likely to listen to, like, in my experience, if you want to get your point across, you actually want to hit them with truth versus yell at them, because people will remember that shit more. But my point, what I was going to say, is that if they had a set schedule and then this raid leader is trying to back out of that schedule, the person yelling has every right to be fucking pissed. Because basically it's like, if you set a schedule and then all 8 people plan for that schedule and then you try to back out of that schedule because things aren't going very well, that's on you. Like, then that makes you a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Casual.
That's
We're
I'm
most
not pulling a K.
inconsistent. You have an ego.
Pulling a
the size-
K would
You
be
have
me
an
leaving right
ego.
now.
You have unrealistic expectations.
What?
Okay, this
I
is
feel like-
supposed to be the hard team. Are we a world race group? Ask me that, because when you recruited me, that was never advertised. But the way
It
you're
was the
acting
week
right now,
one group.
the way you are acting right now, you have been treating us like we're supposed to be a world race group. Okay?
I disagree with that. honestly. I
Well,
feel like my
every
expectations
day-
were. I feel like my expectations were pretty fair.
Okay, I will say this for what reason.
Okay, but you're making it sounding like we're gonna disband if we don't even get a dis one. I mean,
No,
why do you have
I
a
didn't
say
say
you
that at
have
all.
a second static?
My second static is
When we're
casual
supposed
with
when
F's
we're
my
sup-
FD.
Okay, but if we don't clear this week, we're only getting 3 days of raid hours while you go raid 3 days with your casual.
That's not what I said. I said I was down to go as many hours in the weekend as possible until we clear.
Okay, but
Voodoo.
you shouldn't have a second static in the first place if we still
What?
need
Who
the
are you
prog.
who are you to tell me that I need a second static or not?
Well, then you didn't communicate that when you recruited all of us. You're fucking
But-
all of us over because you're selfish.
No.
Both of them are actually right. It just depends on the situation. If the raid leader said, hey, this is my only group, and then turn around later and said, I actually have a second group, then that's the raid leader fucking up. But if the raid leader said from the start that, hey, I have a second casual group that's going to run week 2, then they have every right to do that.
How am I fucking you over when you're the one that refused to be consistent with Prog? I would say you're fucking us over.
If you are going to say, I would suggest ending it now, that is you pulling a K, except you decide when it ends because you're the raid lead. It is exactly the same thing, except you're not saying, I'm out by, you're saying, we're out by.
When he said that, I would have went back and got every single mistake that motherfucker would have told me. Because the way he said that made it seem like that he never makes mistakes, which I know is untrue.
Listen,
I don't think
I'm not
it's
the one
exactly-
fucking you over because of Prog, because I'm actually trying to be a team player and be here. You're trying to bail. You are not the team player. You are the one fucking us over.
not bailing.
So I'm standing my ground. I don't care about my performance. You are the one fucking us over. Now shut the fuck
I care
up
about your
and raid.
Dude, you need to calm the fuck down, dude. Your mental
No,
is really
you
bad and your
need to
gameplay
shut-
is...
I hate you so fucking much.
Damn.
We're done
I
here.
don't understand. What?
You pulled
I don't
a K.
understand. I did not pull a K. I'm still here.
I never.
I'm literally still here and our sub is gone. So if you want to keep going,
And
I will find us
I-
another sub.
You've already ruined the night for everyone. It doesn't matter if you find a sub or not.
I don't know how I ruined the night. If your mentality and mental is that bad that you can't take what
I
I'm
don't even
saying
care if your performance is good because you've just been a shitty raid lead. You are the worst raid leader I've ever had in the 10 years I've played this game. I don't care. You are the worst raid leader. Your communication is shit. Your advice is shit. You tell people to go figure it out instead of offering solutions. You just say,
what else?
"Well, I'm not a range. Just figure out the silences."
Do you know how many obstacles the static has reached and what I've done to circumvent that and get us to where we are now? You don't understand that, do you?
Well, like I said,
We
your
literally had 2
communication
people
has been
bail on
shit.
us. This third person just bailed on us. I found us a way to get us back on track every single time while you sit over here and bitch and fucking play like ass. So we fucking barely beat M7S yesterday.
Oh, but I'm not the one sitting there going every 2 minutes. Oh, we should be on ads already. We should be on that rage already. We should be on this already. The
I'm just
fucking
telling you my...
I will say that is really obnoxious when people do that. Like, one thing that's very important is the morale of players. I feel like that is overlooked by quite a bit. And it's one of those things where, like, if a group is struggling, there's no reason to say we should already be past this point. I understand it can get to that, but you have to remember, happy players are always going to play better than shitty players. Like, I feel like that in my experience, the morale of the group is very, very, very fucking important. And dude, let me tell you, man, this raid tier, woo, holy shit, it was hard to keep morale up. I am insanely fucking proud of the group that I'm in for how they handled all of the fucking bullshit that we had to go through, man, because it was fucking hard. Every single one of those motherfuckers is a fucking legend. Okay, I have massive respect.
Everything from you is exhausting.
You understand? I don't want to tell you guys that, but I'm putting out what realistically needs to happen for us to reach the point that we need to reach.
But that,
which is week one clear.
But the thing is like that's not gonna help. When you're constantly saying shit like, oh, we should be better. Oh, we should be better. That's how I want to know how that's gonna help, because of my experience, that never helps. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Like, if you guys took anything that I said and as me being an asshole towards you guys,
you're making us go extra time on 12-hour raid days. You were talking about shortening an hour break to 50 minutes and come back. I am tired. I am exhausted. I am losing work hours for this, and you don't give a shit. But you want to sit there and go, "Oh, performance!"
You're not the only one exhausted. I'm exhausted too.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Now, there is something I will say is, personally, I'm fine with the week 2 because this tier is really tough. I'm okay with that. I personally feel like we've been doing okay and good. Getting to M8 week 1 to me still feels like an accomplishment.
I think for like a casual pace, mid-core pace, it is really good. I don't
this is
not at all.
Well, for me,
mid-core pace would be
maybe not mid-core, but like in terms of a week 1, you guys understand the static was formed with the goal of clearing week 1. If
yes,
this was not,
you do also realize we have 12 more fucking hours of raid time.
Yes,
all I want to say, no, please.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Finish.
I'll let you go.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Please continue.
You have been basically ready to say, fuck it, I'll PF clear it since sometime last night. Like,
what? Here's real quick. It's just crazy to me how much people shit on the party finder while at the same time they say, fuck it, I'll just PF. Like, what? Like, you can't just go to PF and just magically get a clear. You know how rare that is? A majority of people going to be like, fuck PF are brain damaged idiots. But then when you have a situation like this, it's like, oh, I'm just going to go PF. Like, what? Why would you leave your static to go PF? PF has probably cleared P8, probably, but the amount of groups that have cleared P8 on the party finder are very few and far between. Like, realistically, you're not just going to jump into M8 and just magically get a clear. And also, keep in mind, this group, if they've never seen P2, you still have to learn the last phase.
I feel like you had I feel like you had 1 foot out the door, like basically the entire time. And that is not helping. That is not productive. And you made it clear constantly. Like, the entire time. And you're saying, I'm just voicing my expectations, but what you're also doing is you are affecting everyone's mental by just constantly being like, we should have been here. We should have been
This guy talking knows what's up. This person talking, they know what's up.
here. We should have been here. That is not helping. That is not productive. And you made it clear constantly. Like, the entire time. And you're saying, I'm just voicing my expectations, but what you're also doing is you are affecting everyone's mental by just constantly being like, we should have been here. 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 That doesn't help.
I feel like I haven't really been saying that as much as you guys are making it seem.
No, you have. You have.
This is something I will say, because M7 was kind of my limit for some of it, which is why today I've been a little bit more quiet. during M7, there were a lot of times where I would say, I can't do this, or I'm still learning this mechanic, and I was expected to automatically know what to do because I watched a VOD. I watched the VOD, but I'm busy on days usually. Sometimes I'm relaxing and taking a break. I'm not gonna be every waking moment of the day studying the VOD or the raid plan when there's not many good ones out there. You know, like
Yeah, that's fine. I thought you did really. I thought you did fine in M7.
but also like there were a few times as well where people would get hit by stuff and they'd say, you know, they couldn't do a certain thing, and you would say that's a brain dead excuse, but then you would
that was me
make
being
this,
tilted.
but then you would make the same mistake and you would like act like it was okay.
I did not make the same mistakes that other people were making. So I disagree with
But
that.
also,
You did.
I
That's also
pers-
just blatantly not true.
If
I
I ever
personally-
did, it was very infrequent.
I personally also don't think getting upset at people for making mistakes, like me personally, if I make a mistake and
If I raid with you and you're trying to shit on someone for making a mistake when I know that you have made mistake, if you want to go down that road, I will literally go back and see every single mistake you made, because I don't do that. And I don't think it's right to do that. Like, you have to understand that everybody makes mistakes. And more importantly, if someone is struggling on a mechanic, okay, like, dude, I'm just going to do this is okay. You know what's crazy, man? This group or whatever, what's happening is like very similar to what happened with mine, except for mine, instead of like fucking doing this shit, people took responsibility and we got our shit together and we did what we needed to do and we fucking cleared. Like, one thing I was going to say is that, like, whenever you accuse someone else of making a mistake, you have to make sure, like, you have to think about when you made a mistake. Now, there's always, like, you know, an exception to the rule, right? So, like, let's say someone just literally can't do a mechanic. Okay, well, then you need to have a discussion about that. You need to figure out what the fuck is going on. Then that is completely different. But if someone just makes a mistake, but it's not like a repeated mistake, maybe they make the mistake like 1 out of every 7 polls or 1 out of 8 polls. You know, that's not bad. You know, it's fine. You know, people fuck up. That's to be expected. But you can't completely shit on someone when you are making the same amount of mistakes as someone else.
there's like a 2-minute discussion of what went wrong, it doesn't make me feel good because I already know what I did wrong. Like, I'll just try to correct it the next poll. Like,
Well, I don't know.
I know what
that,
you
though.
mean, but to me, it just makes me it makes me feel bad because then it stresses me out to where it's like, if I get hit, am I gonna get lectured again, or am I gonna get like yelled at again for, you know? Making
I
a
feel like
mistake?
I feel like I barely say things about people messing up.
But like, I have been okay with our progress. Yes, we were advertised as a week 1, but also remember last week before we even started, you and a lot of other people did say, temper expectations, this tier is supposed to be the hardest of the raid tiers because the second tier is usually the hardest, and everybody seemed to be okay with that. But then, like, after 3 days, people were, well, after 4 days, I guess, people were all of a sudden upset that it was hard. It's like, but we said to temper expectations, but now people don't want to temper their expectations. I don't get it, and I think we're doing okay. Sure, we might not clear week 1, but not that many groups have cleared M8 anyways. It's only like a couple hundred people that have actually cleared this tier, as opposed to
but I'm
last.
not-
Also, once again, right? Like now, obviously, it's cooked because we've lost our sub. We've also lost our
Is
dancer.
he gone?
I think
Yeah,
we
he's gone.
left. Oh, they are gone. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I definitely
like
think he's
left
the
left the,
unreasonable one.
left the Discord server as well. But I think it's a little crazy to me, and I got a little too upset earlier because I mean I was upset, but saying when we still would have had 12 hours left of prog time, let's end it here, I'm gonna go PF, is a little
Well, if that
crazy
was too much
to
of
me.
if that was too crazy for you, I'm sorry, but I wasn't gonna immediately do that. I was simply voicing my thoughts. If you guys would have like, I was down to keep going with you guys, but another obstacle that was presented to us was our sub left. I mean, even look at how the subs feel. Even they think it's fucking cooked with how slow progress our prog is. So
Okay,
like,
there is
I mean,
something
I have to say the sub was also fucking up.
there is
heavily.
something I will
he was
say.
he was fresh prog.
I have been asking people in other discords who have cleared this fight, how should Prog usually go? Almost all of them have said they've spent like half of raid days on ads for M8, so I don't know why our expectation is to get
Half of raid days on ads. Yeah, maybe it depends on the group. I'm not sure. But I think the hardest thing about P1 and M8 is definitely the clones at the end of the fight. Now that'll be trivialized with gear because eventually you're just going to probably tank LB or healer LB to save it. But right now you can't do that.
past it within an hour when other groups were like spending hours on it. Like
I feel like
I
ads
guess-
is so free though.
No, ads is free, but there's a lot of easy mistakes to make. Like everybody knows
I
what
mean,
to do, but it's also
But
easy to
when
make.
someone makes the same mistake 5 top pulls in a row, I don't think that's really
Well, but also, why is our group's expectation to clear M8 within like one raid day when other groups have spent multiple
I'm not
days
expecting
on
to
it?
clear in one raid day. If we were at Enrage by now, I would not feel this way whatsoever.
But also,
Right, but
I feel like
I think the raid leader is like, I think that he probably recruited the wrong people. I think that maybe this was his first time trying to be, I guess, a raid lead. Because of those errors, he is probably blaming the people when it should probably go back to him. You know, I could like, I've only seen a couple minutes of this, right? Or whatever, like 5 minutes of this. So I'm pretty ignorant to it. But I feel like that this person wanted to recruit a week 1 static, and he recruited people that honestly just didn't give a shit if they got week 1 or not. But he does have a couple good points. Now, how he handled himself during raid, I have no idea. If he was the person that was like, oh, we should be here, that's bad, you shouldn't do that. If he was calling people out on their mistakes when he's making the same mistakes, then that's also his fault. But he does have good points where if someone is making the same repeated mistake, however, but that should fall on him. He should do everything he can to try to help that person. And if he can't help him get better, you have to kick him. That's it. From what I understand, the raid leader of this group, he shouldn't be a raid leader. He doesn't know how to help people during Prog, at least based on this. He's like, you know, he demoralizes people. Based on what I heard from other people, I feel like that the group isn't living up to his expectation, and he knows this, and he regrets his decision, but he's too deep in to deal with it now, so he doesn't know what to do. So he's taking like the lazy way out. That's what I think. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Like,
I don't know. To me, it was last night. You set the expectation if we were somewhat into phase 2 before the end of the raid night, which he would have had 6 more hours to get there.
What job does he play? Gear was funneled to him? What job does he play? Oh, samurai. I mean, well, that makes sense. You should funnel gear to the samurai. Yeah, you should.
Yes, I understand.
It
but
would have been fine.
My mind kind of changed. That's what happened. Why I said that.
now, okay.
Okay, well, I just don't understand why you would change your mind, because to me that does just feel like you have. I feel like you've had a foot out the door for like a little while now, and I know we've run into obstacles, but it has felt like you.
Does anyone know if this guy's ever week 1 progged before? The reason why I say that is because like it's very easy to get demoralized during Prog, and it's one of those things where you don't really know until you experience it. They didn't do trials for the group. What? They judge solely based off FF logs? Okay. He's week 1 many times. Okay.
We were just kind of ready to dip for a minute already.
I wasn't gonna do that though. My foot was out the door, but I'm still 100% bringing my A game, trying to get us on track for M8 Prog.
I mean, I don't
you,
think
Eyelash.
anybody isn't trying to bring their A game. Sure, people make mistakes, but I don't think anybody's intentionally wanting to make a mistake and wipe. I think
I understand that. I'm not saying anything personally about anybody for making a mistake.
So-
I'm just telling you how it is.
I think it mainly just comes to. I feel like some people have been getting a little too heated in the moment, and that's why I've also been quiet today. I've been trying to, not get as heated.
Can I please
'cause
explain
getting
in
heated
exact
and
detail
upset
why
and
it's bad to
frustrated
judge
doesn't-
based on FF logs?
It doesn't make you play better.
Because FF logs is not indicative of a good player. Some of the best players just have like fucking blues and oranges, man. People think that FF logs is determined by your skill when actually FF logs is determined by your damage. And I know that sounds weird, but there's a lot of ways to get that number. Like also you can buy parses as well. And let's say like you have a person apply to your static that has like a 99 or 100. Well, a lot of people don't know is like kill time is very important, and kill time has nothing to do with player skill. So they could have just got a good kill time.
Better, that's for sure. Like if anything, it does make.
If you're going to base it on FF logs, you need to base on clear history, how fast it took them to clear the tier, and how fast they improved over the course of that tier.
You play worse.
You need to check clear dates.
At least for me, stress makes me play worse. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, it makes me play worse, makes me make more mistakes, and I just don't have a good time. But
Yeah.
I don't hate the group. The group's fine. Like
How fast they took to clear the tier? Yeah, no, it definitely is valid. Because your example here is some players don't take the time off. Well, that's exactly it. Some start late. Yeah, in my requirement, you're not starting late, so I don't want you. You could be the best player in the world, but if you start late, I don't want you. How fast you clear the tier is very important to me. It might not be to you because you're a midcore group or something and you can clear, like, let's say you cleared Sunday or let's say you clear Monday and that's okay with you, that's fine. But for me, I want to go in a server up. Server up means exactly on Tuesday. So how long did it take you to clear? Now this tier, it was shit for me because it took me till Saturday, right? So shit. But we had to replace a raid member. Have you ever had to replace a raid member during Prog? You know how fucking awful that is? You know how miserable that is? We got so lucky that Arthur's came in and carried us. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong necessarily because it all depends on what your expectations are. Like, so for you, you might not care if someone clears on a Friday versus a Monday, right? Because, maybe they did mid-core hours and you're okay with that. That's fine. But for me, no, it's not fine. If you're going up on server up and it takes you like a fucking week or you don't even clear in that week, that's a problem for me. It depends on the recruitment mentality, I guess, of the group. What I check is I check how fast it took you to clear. And more importantly, I check your previous, okay, whenever I group with someone, it's like a fucking job interview. I give them my resume. Here's all this shit. I look at their resume. If they don't have a resume, they don't even get like a trial. Yeah, that's for me. Now I understand. Now the thing is, I completely get it. My perspective on things is unique. It's rare. I'm not saying that everybody that plays this game has to take it serious. You know what I mean? But I'm giving you my perspective. Like if you're going to recruit based on just FF logs, which I think is a mistake, I also think that personality, like for me, now I understand there are some people that are okay with raiding with people that they hate because they have a goal. They want to clear first or they want to clear as fast as possible. And that's what they prioritize. But that's not my priorities. And that's not a vast majority of people's priorities. I feel like a vast majority of people's priorities are they have to enjoy raiding with each other. If they don't enjoy raiding with each other, then it's going to create some shitty fucking environment. So if this group actually recruited just on FF logs, then that was really stupid. Based on what the people said, I don't think this guy should be trying to be a raid leader. But I don't really necessarily believe in a raid leader. I believe more in like a shot caller, I guess. You can have like a person that calls shit out. Or you can have like a manager type stuff like scheduling and loot and that type of stuff. I do not believe in the one person makes a decision. I think that it should be a group's decision.
Week 1 was nice, but also this is the first time I've tried a week 1, and me getting to the final floor week 1 is an accomplishment for me.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment for you, but in terms of what my goals were, it's not something you can.
Right there, the raid leader's an idiot. That guy's talking. He recruited people. Okay, this guy just shouldn't. Okay, what I'm trying to say is a lot of the problems in this group stem back to him. He did a bad job of recruiting. He did a horrible job of like morale and all that other shit, right? I think a vast majority of this blame should be placed on him because he put these people, or he put at least this person in a fucked up situation. If you're in a week 1 group, why in the fuck would you take a person that's never done week 1 before? Why? If you recruited them, that's your fault. I don't care if the raid leader and a streamer, a couple. I don't give a shit. I've dated women on this game and I refused to raid with them in fucking Prog because they were garbage at the fucking game. I told them that. I just told them in a really nice way. I said, hey, babe, you know, I got my group full. You know what I'm saying? You know, me and the boys. Oh, no room for girls. Girls got cooties, ew. Love you. You know, I say it like that. I don't say, hey, fucking, you're fucking trash and you're garbage. I'm never playing with you again. No. Hold on. Someone had a good point. How do you do week 1 if you've never done week 1 but can't get into week 1 because you've never done week 1, so you can't do week 1 without doing week 1? You know, that is a very important question, and it reminds me of the cycle of when you are a teenager. And that cycle is, oh, I want a car, but you need a job to get a car, but you need a car to get a job. It's one of those. It's the cycle. So you know what you had to do? You gotta walk your ass there. You fucking walk your ass there. Or I guess the bus. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing in life, right? You need a job, but you can't get a job because you don't have work experience, you know? But that doesn't make it untrue for this situation. Like me, I would never raid with a person that hasn't done at least week 1.
I don't hate the group. The group's fine. Like, freaking... Week 1 was nice, but also this is the first time I've tried a week 1, and me getting to the final floor week 1 is an accomplishment for me.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment
Like-
for you, but in terms of what
Well-
my goals were, it's not something new to me.
Well, no, I know. Like, I do also think last tier kind of did make people have higher expectations because
Yeah.
a lot of people weeked 1 last year. Like,
Yeah.
so many people did. Mainly because you could bullshit your way through mechanics. This tier, they kind of pulled out all the stops and made things a little harder. And week 1 is tough. I mean, yeah, week 1's really fucking tough this tier. But I really like it, and the group has been fine. Sure, there's some things we do need to work on where maybe you're not trying to be mean, but I guess it feels like it's...
I kind of feel bad for the other people in the group because they kind of got put into a situation that may have been unrealistic for them. But I thought there were at least 2 people in here that were happy with their progress.
coming off as mean in a way. See, to me, I'm not as upset about it because we did Fru together. I kind of knew what to expect, but I think sometimes some things do sound like they're coming off as mean, even if they aren't intended to be. That's just my take on it. But I'm still willing to stay as a group for week.
Let me tell you guys why week 1 usually kicks people's ass. The reason why is because there's no resources. There's no cousins. People don't... Okay, people shit on Hector a lot, but I'm Hector Nation, okay? I'm Happy Nation, okay? All of those guide makers, they are doing the community a service, okay? Now, even if their guide is not 100% the best, like even if I disagree with some of the strats, the point is that they are making a guide that people can follow, right? And this game is designed to where you don't have to have the absolute best strats to clear the fucking fight, okay? Even if your strat, it's not optimal, you can still clear the fucking fight. So my point being here is that people don't understand how important those guides and resources are. And I'm not talking about just like Happy and Hector and, you know, those people on YouTube. I'm talking about like the raid planners. I'm talking about the toolbox. I'm talking about all of that shit. All of that shit. And don't even get me started on the fucking simulator. Holy fuck. Don't even get me started on the simulator. Like 90% of you fucking shitlords in the chat would have never been able to clear top or Fru without the fucking simulator, bro. Don't even get me started on that shit. So my point being is that people severely underestimate the power and strength of those tools. And on week 1, the reason why week 1 is so much harder is because you don't have any of that. You have nothing. You have nothing because it doesn't exist. So you're just going in there completely clueless, and and week 1 really shows you how much of a shit player you are when you don't have something to copy paste. When you are sitting there trying to figure out a mechanic and you are completely fucking brain dead and you have no idea how this works, it really shows when there's no guides. That is when like the super good players, you know, world prog teams and stuff, that is where their talent and skill shines. Like, even if you watch like the world first prog teams, a lot of people still don't understand why that they're going to the places that they're going. And because this game has, you know, is Final Fantasy, you can also get Final Fantasy. So even if you were to try to replicate it, you're probably still going to fuck it up if you don't have an understanding of how it works.
For week 2, because even if it's just progging inmate on the weekends, I'm
See,
not
that's
upset
it,
that you have a
but
casual group. That's fine, because it's on alts anyways, so it's not like it is affecting.
Yeah, I mean
anything,
the
'cause
week
you're on
2
alts.
schedule.
It's okay.
Was it an expected thing that we were gonna play like every single day until we cleared week 2
Oh,
onwards?
I was not. If this would have leaked over into week 2, even without this right now, I was also not going to be available every single day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought I was expecting
I don't
week
understand.
2
I don't understand
to
what
be...
Reese was crash out was about.
Well, okay, I do think. Now, this is just coming from a general perspective, from from M7 at least. I think Reese felt more personally attacked than other people. Now, I'm not saying, you were deliberately doing it or anything. I just feel like, Reese... To me, Reese seems like a sensitive person, I'm not, like, trying to talk shit about them or anything. I think that they just sound like they're sensitive, to where they might think certain things sound negative.
Remember the other day when we were talking about it, right? And I said one of the things that you really have to keep in mind is you have to know a person's tilt limit. Like, okay, so for me, I will never raid with a sensitive person. I just won't. If you're gonna like be all self-conscious and shit during like when you fuck up or something, you can get the fuck out. It just, look, man, it is what it is. I'm sorry, but if you're a sensitive person, we will never be able to raid together.
Or personally attacking when they're not supposed to be. At least that's just how I think.
And that's a really bad trait to have, though.
No.
I agree.
No, like, I agree. It is definitely a bad trait to have, but also, some people can't help it. I mean, low self-esteem.
But I shouldn't.
Low self-esteem.
I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have to like. I shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around him.
No. Oh no. I'm not saying.
Well, the thing is like that's the raid leader's fault for recruiting him. You knew the type of person. I mean, you know what? Maybe they didn't. I mean, did they have a conversation with him? If I were to guess, this guy is probably one of the better players in the group. I don't know if he's the best, but let me explain why I say that. Because this guy sounds like he may have gotten a week 1 in the past. But the problem is that he's putting those expectations on players that have not got a week 1. And that is his fault. Like, he has to take responsibility for that. Oh, wait, we never did any serious trialing outside of doing 1 clear of EX4, which I always thought was weird. Okay, well, then that's an error. You guys definitely should have had some trials, though.
Saying walk on eggshells, I'm saying more of like, I think there's just some things that, like, when Reese was messing up a lot in M7, and it's like, whenever you said, what are you doing? You've been messing up every poll. I think that might have upset them a little. I know what you mean.
I don't get what to tell him though, because I'm trying to progress us forward. He was the one holding us back the most.
No, I know what you mean.
I know, actually.
But if anything, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think anybody in particular has been performing bad. We've all shown we are really good at the game.
I disagree with that.
Now, that's what I was gonna get at. However, I mean, I don't want to say because it's mean.
No, it's not.
It's a tough situation. No, I don't think it's coward. No, it's a tough situation, guys. What this person said, right?
I disagree with that.
Now, that's what I was going to get at. However, I mean, I don't want to say because it's mean.
Yeah. I completely understand that. I sympathize with that. But you got to say it. Like, you have to say it. And if you need to replace a member. The dancer was very dismissive of criticism, and it was pretty much impossible to tell him anything no matter how it was presented. I mean, I would have kicked him. People are probably shitting on this raid leader a lot, and I understand. I think that he fucked up in a different way than a lot of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. They still fucked up. I mean, just, okay, guys, look. I am basing all of this off of just this VOD, okay? I don't know the entire situation, and I'm not going to pretend to. I'm only basing it off of the VOD. I want to be perfectly clear. I think that if this person was like trying to put a group together and raid lead and shit, I think that their flaw started way before the raid tier even came out. He set expectations, but then recruited people that could not meet those expectations. And that's his problem. That's also his problem for not trying to help other people learn mechanics. If someone is struggling, you need to help them. Like, it's a team game. It's a group game. Like, it doesn't matter if, oh, this mechanic's so easy. Oh, it's so easy. That's fine. It's easy for you. But too bad that you need too bad you need the person that's fucking it up the most to fucking progress through the fight. You ever think about that? See, that's one thing people don't think about. Okay? That's fine. It's easy for you. That's awesome. But too bad you need this fucking jackass that can't do the mechanic so that you actually progress. You ever thought about that? Maybe instead of saying that they're shitty, maybe instead of like, oh, we should be on Enrage, maybe instead of doing that, you should do the smart move. You can still think that way, but you can also help them. Because you know what helping them does? You know what that does? It helps you. It helps you. Because if they get past the mechanic, then you get past it too. That's a crazy... Like, I know you're frustrated about the one guy that keeps fucking it up, but try to help him. Now, sometimes people are just unhelpable. You cannot help someone sometimes. And in that case, then you got to kick them. So when this person says, yeah, they don't want to because it's mean, it is mean. It is. But it's also truth. And people need to be told the truth. Sometimes you're in a tough situation, and sometimes you got to say what needs to be said, because there's a certain threshold where the care of a person's feelings matters nothing, and the goal of the group overtakes it. Once you reach a certain point, I no longer care about your feelings. I care about the overall the goal of the group. I feel like a normal person will try to avoid confrontation or doesn't enjoy confrontation. Now, I don't enjoy confrontation, but I will confront someone. I feel like people, in my experience, more times than not, they'll avoid confrontation, and that's fine because confrontation it's not easy to do. And I feel like in this game, a lot of times it kind of doesn't result to anything positive, or I don't know. I mean, it can, but in this situation, it probably didn't, right? Like that person earlier that was screaming and yelling and shit, that accomplished absolutely nothing, literally nothing.
No, it's not
Reese has
mean.
been fucking up
It's not
a lot.
I didn't want to say it only. I guess I didn't want to say it only because I used to be like Reese.
Oh my God,
F,
when
maybe
I
later.
I promise, I'm sorry. I'm watching this.
Took things
I'm sorry.
really personally a lot,
Yeah.
But Reese did mess up a lot. Now, some of that, maybe that's not their fault. I mean, a lot of the M7 stuff, this game's ad targeting is dog shit. I will say that. It is dog shit. But, when they got upset during Phase 3, when we were talking about, tether placement or whatever, I forget even what it was. It was for, Phase 3 with, when the melees have to stack with their ranged partner or whatever, they took what Troll was saying too personally, when Troll was just asking, how are you doing the movement? Because,
Are you talking about M7?
Sorry, did I say different fight? I meant M7 Phase 3. I think I just might have just said Phase 3. But
yeah, all
M7,
Troll is asking is for range to get to their spot faster, so melee can just stand on top of them.
And I think Reese took that a little more personally than they should.
Yeah, is this pretty much the end of it? Should we read the comments? And this is why you don't consent to your prog being streamed. It's funny, not really in this case, as a clip for Reddit. Okay. Hi, I'm actually the person streaming this. I did ask everything beforehand if it was okay for me to stream our comms. I stream for VODs and did not ever imagine this happening. I have no intentions toward the person. However, this is not the first time he yelled violently about being confronted, even in a calm fashion, and at multiple members. Obviously, no one will understand the whole story, but I do not really like conflict when this altercation began during the clip. I had my headphones off because I did not want to hear the yelling. We had a sub for the day, and after losing a member who left, which is what prompted the talk about if we should keep going because a sub left. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, this is the dancer. Okay, so the dancer's the guy that left. Hey, yeah, this is the dancer from the video, the actual one. It's not a troll or someone pretending. Honestly, I wasn't even going to say anything, but I see the raid lead and his girlfriend showing up in comments, and at this point, it's clear I will be dragged into the 14 drama spotlight whether I like it or not. So here it is, my side, all of it, no dodging. I'll take full responsibility for what I did, but I also think people deserve the full context because it's a lot missing here. I've been playing this game since 2.1. Hardcore raiding isn't new to me. I knew what I was getting into. I try to go for week 1 every tier, and I wanted this one to be it, but clearly, okay, so no, they don't know. So they've been trying to get week 1 since 2.1. They don't know what hardcore rating is. They think they know, but they don't know. I try to go for week 1 every tier, and I wanted this to be the one. They have a false perception of what that is. Okay, so right off the bat, they don't have the correct mindset. So since 2.1, so that's like 9 years, they've been trying to get a week 1 for 9 years? No. You don't have the mentality. This person doesn't have the mentality. I mean, it is what it is, right? If they've never gotten it before, and this is how I read this, I mean, maybe I'm reading it wrong. They don't have the mentality. So whatever they think they know about hardcore rating, they don't. It is incorrect. Anyway, so let's start from the top. First, yes, this was the static with a couple in it. The raid lead and the VTuber in the video are dating. He plays Samurai, she plays Picto. So take a wild guess about who got funneled gear. I mean, the thing is, like, see, this is another thing. It makes sense. This is their ignorance coming into play. The fact that they got funneled gear, yes, it may have been because they were a couple, but you also funnel those jobs gear. Like, don't say that they're just funneling those jobs gear because they're a couple. Like, that's the job you funnel gear to. Okay, and the Paladin, a friend of theirs. So right out of the gate, this would never be a balanced group. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I actually think the dancer is a fucking idiot based on their comments so far. Maybe they're going to explain it differently, but why would you drag the Paladin into it just because they're a friend of theirs? Well, I don't know what they mean by that. Balanced group. I guess balanced in like taking sides or something. I'm not sure. 3 of them, 1 of me. Okay. Right here, 3 of them, 1 of me. Like, this person is already going into the fucking situation as an outcast. They're already going into the situation like some type of weird competition. Why do you have to word it like that? 3 of them, 1 of me. Why can't it be 4 of you? You know what I'm saying? And the rest just trying to hold the thing together. The Paladin has attempted to defend me a lot and has been a good mediator, so I respect that. The recruitment post, which has now been deleted, said this would be week 1 group. We were promised 54 hours across 7 days with 12-hour weekends. 54 hours? I mean, that's a little low for me. But yeah, no, you could definitely clear week 1. Okay. With 12-hour weekends, the static only became full the night before day 1 started. Holy shit. Okay. That's already brutal, but sure, I was ready for it. We were thrown together last second static being held by literal duct tape. No one, including me, had a proper trial. Well, apparently you weren't ready for it. You weren't ready for it. I wasn't prepared for the raid lead constantly trying to squeeze more time out of us. Pushing sessions longer, shaving off breaks, adding extra pulls. Even our one supposed hour-long break on 12-hour days was almost cut to 50 minutes. Bruh. And we ended up rating towards 13. This, okay, see, right, okay. Look. Let's go. I've been playing this game since 2.1. Hardcore rating isn't new to me. This dancer has no concept, literally no concept of hardcore rating. None. Absolutely zero. Why in the fuck did the raid lead ever recruit this person? I was tired, burnt out, sleeping like trash. Okay, I want to ask you guys a question right now. How many in here have already cleared the raid tier and you did hardcore hours? Okay, now let me ask you another question. Okay, how many of you were tired at one point? How many of you were burnt out at one point? How many of you slept like trash? Me. Every single fucking one of us, bro. You are not special, dancer. You have no idea what the fuck hardcore rating is. Oh, man, that group got debated, bro. Does this ever happen to you? Because it happens to me. Let's say you raid for like 14 hours. Can you go to bed right away? Normally, I can't. And when I can, I only sleep for like 5 hours max. Whenever I close my eyes, I can actually see what the fuck I was doing before we ended for the day. So like when I went to bed, I could see me doing a pull of M8. Like when I closed my eyes, I could see, gameplay. Yeah, you like, for me personally, you have to like wind down. I was tired, burnt out, sleeping like trash, and when I brought it up, the man had the nerve to say 7 hours, starting from the moment the raid ended to when it began the next day, was more than enough to rest. I personally prefer 8 because I like to take an hour to wind down. So if he meant 7 hours of pure rest, then I agree with. But if he meant like 7 hours to wind down and sleep and then get up and eat the next day, that's a bit too low for me personally. So let's say like we raid for 16 hours and we have 8 hours off. That's good for me. In that hour, I'll typically take like 30 minutes just to chill, maybe watch something, then I'll try to pass out. And then I'll wake up after like 6, and then I'll get up and then just go for a quick, like a quick walk, maybe like 20, 30 minutes. So typically 8's the magic number for me. I did agree to it in the end because I wanted to push for the clear too, even though I was annoyed. Remember, this is a week 1 group, not a world race group. And it wasn't just the hours. The way he ran the group was a mess. Whenever something went wrong, I was the first one he pointed the finger at. Well, maybe you were the person that messed it up. It didn't matter if, okay. It didn't matter if someone else actually messed it up. Okay, well, if that was true, then that was his fault. The default assumption was that it was me, especially during M7S Phase 1 when we had to coordinate silences on the ads. There were 3 silences to be handled between both. What? This is kind of weird because, like, you only have to silence. I mean, you don't even have to technically. You can just kill them. Can you even silence the cross AOEs? The only one that really matters is the fucking dynamo. Yeah, and I was about to say, and like the tanks get them. But even if you don't get them, oh, you can? Yeah, well, you don't need to, though. That's the thing. You only want to silence the dynamos. But even then, you can just kill them before it goes off. But anyway, 4 ads if 1 got missed. My fault even when I handled my silence correctly. Meanwhile, he offered 0 help in figuring out. He just told us to deal with it. Then came the curveball. While trying to lock in week 2 plans, we suddenly discovered that the raid lead and his girlfriend now have a casual static. So instead of the time we all committed to, we're being told we'll only get 3 hours for reclears on Tuesday, just 3, because apparently we should already have it on farm. Okay, well, I will say this, though, that if the raid lead was not vocal about the second group, if he just threw it in there, that, oh, I have a second group on week 2, one of 2 things would need to be handled. Well, 1, your week 2 group can eat shit because you have to prioritize this group. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's his fault for not saying that he had another group. Let's see. And let's talk about my father. On Monday, he had a doctor appointment. Okay, look, man. So, like, I'm going to be real, man. I'm going to be real. I don't care. I'm just going to start it off with me saying I don't care because, again, let me explain. I've been playing the game since 2.1. Hardcore raiding isn't new to me. Like, whatever is happening in your personal life, I don't give a shit about, a vast majority of stuff, unless it's like some emergency or some shit like that. Okay. So maybe this was, but this doctor appointment, this planned doctor appointment, that's your fault for saying that you can raid when obviously you can't raid. That's your fault. How is that his fault? I use PTO to raid as many people do during progression. Okay. I asked my father if he was okay with me using that time for the raid. We ensured someone could take my dad instead, and my older brother stepped in. Okay, that's good, yeah. My dad told me to go ahead and raid and wanted me to succeed. He even watched this very stream. Yes, he saw all this. So I went. I committed to the grind, gave up personal time, and tried to push for the clear. We worked together so I could be here for this team. Okay, so that's really good, which I do not feel was appreciated by the raid lead. I mean, like, I'm trying to put myself in the situation, man. Like, it's a level of expectation. I feel like that this person is trying to put a bunch of personal shit into it when it's literally just a question of, hey, can you make this schedule? Yes or no. If you can't, then you can't. If you can, then great. I feel like that this last part is just whiny. And let me explain why. Because this person agreed to the schedule. You agreed to the schedule in the first place. You set time aside. So that was the expectation. Why should the raid lead have to go out of their way? Of course they appreciate it because you can make it. But if I was in that situation, I'm not going to suck your dick for doing the expectation. That's the set expectation. You should do it. I feel like this is just whiny. And then mid-raid, halfway through a 12-hour day, the raid lead suddenly starts floating the idea of disbanding the group because we're not clearing fast enough for his taste. I mean, that's the raid lead's fault. That was handled bad. I was pissed That was PTO I could have used to be with my family, wasted by that. That's what started this crash out. Okay, so right here, this person is definitely in the right. They should be pissed. They should be pissed because they did take time off. They took time off to meet that expectation, and then the raid lead is like, let's just go party finder or whatever. So they have every right to be pissed here. That's what started this crash out that you see on stream. And for what? A half-baked, passive-aggressive raid lead who constantly keeps telling us we should have been on X mechanic already. So like right here, this is just bad. This is just bad fucking, attitude. Like there's no reason to say that. And don't let them fool you. I wasn't the only one he had issues with. After every raid night, he had someone new to complain about. We were rotating through members and left and right. Okay. This is a fault in the raid lead. This person. Okay. Hopefully this person, now we'll read the raid leader's response. Hopefully this person learned from this experience and won't put people through this, won't put not only people, but also himself through this experience again. One guy quit on day 2. We got a melee backup after that who didn't parse well, and suddenly they were on the chopping block. One of our healers lost internet, and we cleared M6 Savage without them. Okay, the raid lead didn't even want to get them a page. Let's see. So I guess it would depend on the situation, but if their internet was out, depending on how long their internet was out, I would not want to go back. But then again, it would depend on the situation. But typically you just keep moving forward. Typically. I pushed to get that done for them, okay? And the funny part, the same healer is talking shit about me in this video. I don't remember that. Whatever. I'm not even that mad at them. I still like them. The Paladin is a cool dude too. So after everything, the raid lead and his girlfriend, both getting fed gear, are now trying to walk out early, and they're acting like I was the problem. Well, the thing is right here is that like if this person was constantly fucking up, they were part of the problem. Like they were the problem. And again, this person is just salty that they got fed gear when they should have been getting fed gear. So you can't really hold that against them. Like we were wasting their time. Meanwhile, we'd get strats dropped on us last minute with little communication. If I tried to offer a solution, he'd tell me I was making things more complicated and that it was not that hard. Just do the mechanic. Okay, so this is like bad right here. If someone doesn't understand something, you need to get them to understand it. Then he'd get mad when we did the strat, which wasn't the proper solution. Though they were right sometimes. I was the problem, and I took that poorly. I apologize for the times I was at fault. It was a bit difficult to deal with, especially when I was also taking the blame for others' mistakes on top of my own. But I should have handled the criticism better, especially when they were correct at some of those times. Okay, so like right here, man, this just goes back to what they set up here. They have no concept of like hardcore rating. So hopefully they realize that. They realize that they probably are just not cut out for a week 1 hardcore. Like if they've been trying to do this for like since 2.1 and have never got it, then they should just, I'll be the one to say it. You're probably never going to get it. Or if you do get it, it's going to have to be on a super easy raid tier. Like you're just going to have to wait for an easy raid tier to get it. Because their concept of what like rating is at like, hardcore. I would say based on their mentalities, they're more of a midcore raider. Lastly, he told me I was the worst physical range player he'd ever seen. Maybe he's right. Well, guess what? He was the worst raid lead I've ever had, so I think we're even there. I mean, they're probably both right. I mean, maybe the raid leader was right that this was the worst physical range he'd ever seen, and I mean, I agree with this person that that guy was probably the worst raid leader they've ever seen. So that's my side of things. That probably isn't everything, but even now, I'm losing more sleep to write this. I know I messed up. I lost my temper. I crashed out hard, and that's on me. I shouldn't have let it boil over. I apologize for that part. I didn't even mean to get that mad at them over it. I own that. Whatever consequences come from it, I'll take it. But this idea being floated around that I was constantly screaming every pull that I was toxic all week is straight up false. Okay, well, I didn't get that from the clip. I mean, they got mad in the clip, but I didn't get that from the clip. If I had behaved like that, this whole thing would have exploded way earlier. The video doesn't say anything about me having behavioral issues before tonight. This was a one-time blow-up, not a pattern. And if they had problems with me, that's news to me and is being brought up after the fact. The first tier and Fru being easier made people overconfident and had set some expectations to be unrealistic. Lastly, I don't understand why they were hinting towards a complete disbandment if we don't achieve the week 1 clear. Why are we being forced to find new statics and not just go for week 2 clear instead? It sucks that all the effort we all put in was disbanding the only option. When we disband, we risk not clearing on week 2 as well. Okay, so let's read the raid leaders. All right, I, raid lead, am just going to address the major points you made as you gave your perspective on it, so I'll just share mine. I don't care if I'm agreed with or downvoted, and not here to convince anyone who is right or wrong, as both sides could have handled it better. I really don't understand how you came to the conclusion that we took gear because we are a couple, when I, the samurai, received majority of gear since it was the largest damage increase for our group. Yes, that's true. As I am the dance-partnered samurai getting Astro cards, it's fair to assume I would get most of the gear to beat week 1 DPS checks comfortably. You know, I just kind of thought about it, man, but, and I could be wrong about this, but I think the dancer got extra salty because the raid lead was the dance partner. So they were like forcing to dance with someone they hated. Anyway, the reason Picto received gear is because she was our second highest DPS increase to the group overall, and it worked out to where me and the ninja had matching bis pieces, while you and the Picto had matching. Oh, maybe they're talking about slots. Okay, Sam and Picto provide more ADPS than Ninja Dancer, so that's why we received gear. In fact, our Picto was offering to give the ninja armor upgrade as the ninja had tome legs as opposed to Picto having tome gloves, but the ninja declined and gave it to the Picto, agreeing overall that it would... Okay. Final touch on the couple situation. I've never once introduced any kind of dynamic that showed bias towards my partner, as we would usually focus individually for raid and acted as a couple strictly in private. Not once did I show any kind of favoritism or even any signs that we were a couple other than having matching PFPs in Discord because we like cringe. So again, I'm not sure why you're focusing on that aspect so hard. Also, don't know why you mentioned the paladin being my friend as a negative when you yourself say he was a mediator and acted neutrally. More than anything, not once did I show any favoritism toward him either. So not sure why you didn't are trying to make yourself seem like the odd one out. Okay, like, I'm gonna be real here, man. Everything this guy's saying is like, everything this person's saying makes sense. Like, for the people that are like, the guy's an asshole, he's a shitty raid lead, like, I will agree to the fact that he is a shitty raid lead in the sense that he probably demoralized the group. He probably did a horrible job on recruiting people and all that shit. It's like, basically, as a player, so far, he hasn't really said or done anything that is like struck me, I guess. The only thing that I will that I can say that that this person is horrible at is getting people together and keeping the morale of the group, and I guess helping people that struggle. If this person was to make a group again, and now keep in mind, I'm not some like god raid leader, okay, or anything like that. I'm kind of just going off of like, you know, common sense shit. But if someone is struggling, you need to help them because they are going to be the reason that you don't succeed. So if you, like, instead of placing blame, like, it's not my fault I'm not succeeding. No, it is your fault because you aren't helping them. Okay, you are not helping them. You are just telling them to go fuck off. That's your fault. Okay, so you need to help them because your progress is dependent on your weakest link. There's that. Second off, why the fuck are you trying to put a group together? And why the fuck are you trying to get people together when you've never, like, you don't even trial them? You know what I'm saying? And, like, third, don't constantly bring up, like, demoralizing shit during raid because that's bad. Let's see. The recruitment was a struggle. Yes, we were constantly 6 out of 8, 7 out of 8. For a full week before the tier was released, and we would have filled a lot sooner if it weren't for people in the group choosing to leave to groups that would be 8 out of 8 with them. I did my best to fill the group and trial everyone for vibe checks exclusively, as I used FF logs to determine skill level. If that's considered not a proper trial, then that's your opinion, but I felt everyone that I recruited was capable, including you. Okay, this right here was 100% incorrect. This right here is 100% and it showed. This right here, he is an idiot. So hopefully if they hear me, or for anybody, if you recruit someone purely based off FF logs, let's play it again so you'll know.
Here and be here. You're trying to...
This is what happens when you recruit people based off FF logs. I want everybody to crank their volume and listen.
Bail, you are not the team player. You are the one fucking us over.
I'm not bailing.
No, I'm standing my ground. I don't care about my performance. You are the one fucking us over. Now shut the fuck up.
I care about your...
Right.
Dude, you need to calm the fuck down, dude. Your mental is really bad and your gameplay is...
I hate you so fucking much. We're done
I
here.
don't understand. What,
You pulled
I don't
a kick.
understand. I did not pull a kick. I'm still here.
I never.
I'm literally still here, and our sub is gone. So if you want to keep going, I will find us another sub.
You've already.
Okay, that's what happens when you recruit off FF logs. So hopefully that will be a lesson for everyone in the chat. I don't know why you bring up the hours getting increased when you know why. You mentioned how our healer lost internet and failed to include how much of a dent it put in our prog time for that day, and how I had to last minute find a fill to get us some meaningful M6 Savage prog, which resulted in a clear without our healer. I 100% wanted to get them a book the following day, but since him losing internet caused us to lose a lot of time, I suggested that since his internet went out and caused us to lose prog time, he would skip M6 for that week so that we could continue being on pace for week 1. This is another tough situation because on one hand, I agree with him. It's not the group's fault that they lost internet. And you have to think about it like this. If we take time to go back and clear M6, how fast are we going to clear M6? Is it going to be 30 minutes? Is it going to be an hour? Because depending on how long it's going to take, is that going to cut into our week 1 clear? If the answer to that question is yes, then you need to take one for the team, and you're going to skip M6. If it's not, then we can go back and re-clear. That's something that that's something that I don't know. I mean, obviously it was smarter for them not to clear M6 because because of this shit. Hindsight's 2020. So when that person lost internet, they just should have accepted it. Now, I don't know the entire situation, but in my opinion, what I would have done, we would not have went back and cleared M6. Now, while it might not have been the healer's fault, I mean, I'm pretty sure the healer didn't want to lose internet, right? Like, nobody wants to lose internet. But it happened, and shit happens. You can't go back. You just have to make the best of a bad situation. Yes, I'm aware the healer had no control over his internet, but that doesn't freeze time. And obviously he didn't like my proposal since he would be the only one missing out, and pleaded with us to get him a book. After some consideration, I eventually changed my mind and agreed to redo M6 to get him a book on the condition that we extended raid by 1 hour that day to make up for lost M, which everyone agreed to. So I'm not sure why you made it seem like I didn't want to get you the healer book for no reason. Okay, this is very good. I mean, I think that this is fine. This is completely acceptable. If we have to go back and waste time for this, then we have to raid an extra hour. The only other time I really extended the hours was what you said, the 12-hour to 13-hour day, which was done because, yes, I didn't think we were on pace, and it wasn't having that feeling randomly either. Extending hours, I think, is okay, but it's not okay when people are just done. So if this was like forced or tried to be forced, I feel like that was a mistake. But if everyone was okay to do an extra hour, then I think it was completely fine. I cross-referenced with multiple friends doing week 1 groups and had discussions about how many pulls it took them to clear M5 through M7. And in all of those fights, our group took almost double the amount of pulls to clear compared to others. So I feel like wanting to keep us on pace was fairly reasonable. And on the day we raided 13 hours, you say we had 7 hours from raid in to raid start, which is completely false considering we raid at 1 a.m. EST and started the next day at 12 p.m. EST. Yeah, that was another weird thing. Like, how do you raid for 13 hours and then say, like, well, we only had 7 hours? Where the fuck did the other 4 hours go? The number just doesn't add up. That is 11 hours from raid in to raid start, so really not sure what you are saying. It was 7. We also only did 2 12-hour days, which I felt was pretty manageable stamina-wise, but tell me if I'm wrong, I suppose. You were never the one being blamed until M7S. I had no issues with your performance until that very fight where you got constant damage downs throughout Phase 1, every other pull. Even on clear attempts, you were still getting damage downs consistently, which is what brought your performance to my attention in the first place. When I asked, yo, let me tell you this, man. Dude, let me fucking tell you this, bro. Oh, God, dude, I'm relating too much to this post, bro. When I asked about why you were getting them and if you had any trouble with anything, your response was tell others to place their mech correctly and it won't happen. When it was occurring in a phase where nobody places anything. You even wiped us one pull because you had thought we had changed our strat when everyone clearly knew that we had not changed anything, further showing that you just weren't listening to group discussions pre-pull. I did feel like you were more than capable of working with the tanks to silence M7 ads, but after giving you a solution, use enmity list. Another member mentioned they played on controller and could not do that. To which you mentioned you were also on controller. And at that point, yes, I was frustrated a bit because I felt like you and the tanks were capable of finding a way to interrupt the ads. But on average, we were only able to silence one every pull. with you stating that you kept silencing the same ad as the tanks. I wanted to work with you more on issues we had in M7, but by the middle point, you were honestly sounding really aggravated and would start raising your tone whenever you spoke, which made it difficult to interact with you. So I left it alone and we stuck out 133 polls to clear M7. Not sure why my secondary casual group triggered you so much when I told everyone, I guess you didn't hear about it and how it wouldn't affect reclears, as I would add more time on weekends if needed to finish them. There was also another individual in the group that also had a secondary static. I feel like it's not your concern what we do outside of our static times, and you straight up assumed I wouldn't give us enough time for reclears. As long as the main group is like prioritized, and as long as there's time to get that shit done, I don't give a fuck what other people do. About your father's situation, everyone in the group sacrificed things and personal time to be there for week 1. People have told me casually what they were missing out on to be there during breaks. And I appreciated everyone's willingness to do that for the group, so not really going to comment further on that. Probably the biggest thing is that I did not ever say I was going to disband the group. I simply stated that I did not think we were on pace and was going to result in clearing in PF with whoever else felt confident to Prog to phase 1 in Rage, as I did with them later that night. Obviously, I didn't get to finish my proposal since it was met with immediate backlash, understandably, but I hope you realize I did not suggest PFing because we weren't clearing fast enough. I did it because we weren't going to clear at all based on how long it took to clear M6 and M7. Another member even agreed that it wasn't going to happen at that point due to how far behind we were. Also, not trying to fool anyone, I had plenty of issues with others as well. Yours were just the most apparent in the moment in M7 and M8, that it resulted in my judgment of your performance just being poor. Oh my fucking God. I reading all that. I'm happy for you though, or sorry that it happened. I did think you were a problem. Disagree if you would like, but that was just the conclusion I had came to during our brief M8 session when you also seemed to be performing poorly compared to everyone else. I even linked you an Imgur after a poll showing how you caused a wipe since you claimed you didn't cause it, and your response was good for you, which I followed up with, I'm not trying to ego with you. I'm letting you and everyone else know that it's okay to wait an extra second for magic wounds to fall off before popping orbs in ad phase. They are pretty lenient. And your response to that was good for you. I posted new raid plans 5 to 10 minutes before. I just think, like, I'm going to be honest, man. I would never raid with that dancer. To me, they seem like a horrible person to raid with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this raid leader has no business being a raid leader. I think that he's horrible at putting a group together. But I mean, what do I know? You know, I mean, I'm not a raid leader either. But I think that this person made a lot of mistakes in getting the group together. But I will say this, based on the dancer's mentality, no, I wouldn't raid with them. Absolutely not. They're way too sensitive and have no concept of the group's expectation or hardcore prog or anything like that. I posted new raid plans 5 to 10 minutes before raid twice because before our prog session, I discovered strats that I deemed superior and were worth looking at real quick. And I feel 5 through 10 minutes is more than enough time to go through it really quick and read up on a mechanic we're on and any possible changes to it. Okay, so this right here, 5 to 10 minutes is not fast enough. It's not fast enough. Not for this type of group. You need more. Nature of week 1 means discovering new strats constantly, and I was always on the lookout for strats that would help our group succeed. The one time I told you to just do the mechanic is when you were complaining about missing 1 to 2 GCDs due to having resolved mechanics that took you out of GCD. What? Which I'm not sure if you were aware, but everyone experienced. Wait, what? For a dancer? What mechanics took you out of attack range? M7 range tether? Oh, okay. M7 range tether? But it's a wall boss. I don't know. That seems very weird to me, man. Like, it seems weird to me why you would complain about a couple GCDs. Just do the mechanic. Just move out for 1 to 2 GCDs and move back in. It ain't that big a deal. I mean, dude, I don't even want to hear about loss of GCDs, dude. As a fucking tank, dude, you know how many tomahawks, fucking unmins, and lightning shots that I threw for the safety of Prog, bro? But everyone experienced periods of downtime due to early week 1 strats not really taking uptime into account, something I honestly thought you would understand. Yeah, exactly. I dropped that worst physical range message on you after you had that toxic crash out and left our group. So I sent that message in response. Not sure why you make it seem like if I just called you out on that out of the blue. Could I have had a better attitude towards you? I certainly could have. I apologize for not having a cooler state of mind, but the way you seem to have victimized yourself when you clearly were exhibiting aggressive behaviors in M7 and M8 just didn't sit well with me. I feel like that the dancer is an extremely fucking sensitive, passive-aggressive motherfucker. That's the feeling I get. I could be wrong, but just based on first impressions, that's the feeling I get. Lastly, and I've said it already, I really don't get why you thought we were going to disband. I had multiple talks with the group about how we would add more time on the weekends to clear week 2 onwards if things didn't go well week 1. Me suggesting that we should just PF the rest of the day does not equal disband for the rest of the tier. Why are you doing this in the open though? If it was that sincere, you just DM and get it done. Well, nah, because it's like one of those things, right? Or something was posted online, and depending on how much you give a shit. Like for me, if someone is in the wrong and they're saying I'm in the wrong, like I'm gonna defend myself. Yeah, like the fucking video was posted in the public space. But do you need to do it on a Reddit post? I mean, yeah, because the video was posted on Reddit. I mean, where else are you gonna do it? Why would you respond to a Reddit post on Instagram? Like what? Okay. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't understand. I mean, literally, Reddit is an open public forum, right? Why would you not okay, now my question to you, where should he have addressed it? On MySpace? OnlyFans. All right. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, this is pretty much it, right? I guess just to kind of wrap up my thoughts or whatever. I think that the group expectations, there were certain members of the group that couldn't match the expectations. I think that the raid lead did a horrible job recruiting people and handling tilts and shit during raid. I thought that recruiting that dancer was a huge fucking mistake. And I personally would never play with this dancer in a serious hardcore environment. This dancer takes way too much shit personal. They are way too sensitive, and they have no concept whatsoever of hardcore progression. I think the dancer was way too sensitive, way too emotional, and should stick to midcore. Or if there's an easy tier, maybe you get a week 1 on easy tier. Outside of that, stay out of hardcore because this is going to happen every time. What I think should have happened is after M7, they should have kicked the dancer. But then again, maybe other people messed up just as much as the dancer. I don't know. I'm only going off of information that I have. I think that the raid leader was actually more in the right than the dancer. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think the raid leader's an idiot for the things that he did, right? I think that they're shit at putting a group together, and I think they're shit at keeping the group, the group's morale up. But a lot of the stuff what he said, of what this person said was true. And I think that the dancer was just way, way, way too emotional, man. Way too emotional, that they was clouding their judgment. Anyway, look, man, this was a good rack. This was a good rack. I mean, look, man, hopefully everybody in the group gets their clear, I mean, even if it's week 2, hopefully they get their clear. Can I do an interview with the dancer? Do we care that much, bro? I don't think we care that much, man. Maybe we could start our own Jerry Springer where we just get people with really bad experiences in progression rating, and we just get them on the stream. We just let them go at it, man. And you guys could chant Xeno, Xeno, and then you'd hear the bell, right? And then they'd fight,